Power pink is a deep cycle indicator. It's paired with power blue. Sometimes you'll see power blue higher in a high cycle. You'll see power blue higher than power pink, but the vast majority of the time, power pink is highest in a high cycle and lowest in a low cycle. But if you have blue highest, that's pretty much the same thing because pink is likely to be real close to it in when you're identifying the peaks and the bottoms of cycles. Swing gray is our primary cycle indicator, a deep cycle indicator. Swing gray pinpoints cycle changes. It's a slow moving line, so occasionally there'll be a 1-day delay in the turnaround. In other words, the fast lines change, but gray continues down one more day before the following day it starts going up. The power pink line is what we refer to as a short cycle indicator. Whereas, for example, if you have the price is going down and then it does a short rally, 1, 2, or even 3 days, probably not 3 days, but 1 day or two, swing gray will not move. It'll continue down. That is not true with power pink. Power pink will identify the cycle much more readily, the cycle change much more readily than swing gray. But when you have that, it's going down and you have 1 or 2 days up and then it goes back down, swing gray will guide you through that and show you most of the time will show you that the cycle is continuing to go down. Power pink is a indicator that we like to see, like so many of the indicators, we like to see indicators either lowest or highest. They have their greatest impact on the price, or typically it seems that way. In looking at the charts here, we can see I've got 4 vertical lines drawn, and we're going to look at power pink in a low cycle situation. On the red vertical line right here, both this has the trend chart and the power chart, and over on the left side I have the price, the zip, and the swing chart. And on the red vertical line over here, power pink is in a low cycle. Blue has started going up, and pink is still remaining flat. It's our first green candle in many days. It is also the day when trend red crosses over green to potentially start an uptrend. The key things that you need to remember, and I've chosen this one because it's a flat bottom pink cycle. Most of the time you'll just get BOC patterns in the pinks in power pink. But I've selected this one because I wanted you to identify how to read the turnarounds. And it has to do with your power yellow line. If you notice between the red vertical line and the yellow vertical line, we might even go out to the green vertical line, but anyway, from red to yellow, the price is pretty darn flat. It's been that way for 7-8 days. At the same time, power yellow is going down and power pink is going up. Keep in mind, they're both under 0. But the Power yellow is following the price more so than the power pink, because power pink is coming back. And the indicators that you want to watch when you're looking at power pink are the power yellow, and of course over here in the zip chart you want to watch the zip yellow. From the red vertical line in the zip chart to the yellow vertical line in the zip chart, zip yellow and blue have run together and remained fairly low. And that combination, or how do I say this, with zip yellow is a great indicator to tell you if the price is going to stay low, or if it's running flat up high up in the 80s, it'll indicate to you also that the price is going to remain flat, but it's going to remain high, traveling in a high mode, or in a high peak value, let's call it. The white vertical line is the first day that yellow crossed under the pink line. And when that happens, you know you're in a pretty flat situation. We also know if you're going down or yellow is under pink, you're in a pretty flat situation. And it's over at the green line before the yellow goes up significantly, and of course we have a really nice 3 or 2 gap day following the green line. It is also the day when the power 3, pink, blue, and white, are going to cross over the power orange and the zero line. So it's important to keep in mind that when your power lines, your power 3 or even your power 4, now in this case yellow is not moving like as much or as fast as the others, but it got real close. The power 3, when they cross over 0, it creates a nice, in other words, gap up or uptrend. Obviously, we would want to see the gap up in this particular situation on the vertical green line. But the idea is that when they cross over the power orange line or the 0 line, that values go up. Now, if you notice over here in the zip chart on the yellow vertical line, we have what is referred to as a nose down. This is zip green, nose down underneath the yellow line, and that is pretty much an automatic next day up. And you can see here we had a nice gap up the following day in those candles with that nose down. We also had other things too. I'm not going to go into a lot of depth here for gaps, but I'll point out to you that in the swing chart we had swing Zion down and swing pink up. So we had divergence in situations. We had zip green down, zip Zion up, another type of divergence. And when those two are divergence, remember, zip Zion and zip green are tracking the trades in and out of the market. Zip Zion is the grandfather to zip green. It takes a lot more power to move zip Zion to its extremities, like at 100 or at 0, than it does for zip green. But they are in divergence, and that is part of what causes that gap up. Also on the yellow line, with the nose down on the yellow vertical line, what I wanted to mention was that on the yellow line over in the trend chart, we had a triple down touch: red down touched blue, green down touched pink, and gray down touched yellow. And that's part of what causes the gap up. It's just a combination of things that are supporting evidence, that give us information, that tell us what's going on. On the yellow vertical line, we also have power red in a right leg W, and we have power pink in a right leg in a right leg W higher pattern. And the other indication, keep in mind, for example, when we're looking at swing Zion down and swing pink up, swing Zion is your price indicator. And that pair is very important to watch because of the relationship that the two have. Swing Zion tracks the price, and swing pink is a leading indicator. It's swing pink and and zip red are the two the quickest lines in the system. Again, red moves a great distance, 40, 60, 80, 90 points in one day. Pink does not move the great distances, but it moves quickly. And so it becomes a leading indicator. Pink is telling us the price is going up, even though swing Zion records the price going down. And the reason that is, I think, because we have a gap down green candle. And so that divergence then gives us, along with the divergence between the trades, the zip green and the zip Zion, it tells us we potentially have something significant taking place the next day. And in the power chart, we have Zion touching the green line. Keep in mind, we have if you look at the 7 short-term trend lines, we have the trio is all under 0, but it's going up. The power orange and green are going down, and they pretty much get close to 0 on the vertical yellow line day. And red and green are going down over here as well. But we always look at the 7 short-term trend lines to give us some kind of potential direction on what's happening. Now, in looking at the next one, this is just a one example thing. On the vertical green line day, it's a day when, if you look here on the price chart, price green is at 149.02. Now, you know the maximum price green can hit is 150. Sometimes it can stay up there for a day or two, but when you get to 149, you're pretty assured that you've reached the top. Not always true, but it's a really good indicator as far as the supporting indicators go. When you look at the zip chart, as I've expanded it here, you have the zip Zion at 100 for its second day on the vertical green line day, but you have the zip pink right now on the vertical line day at 98. And you're not totally, absolutely, positively assured that it's going down just based on looking at the Zion and the green and the pink line, but you do have in the zip gray, you do have a big W pattern, which is very indicative of a next day down. And of course, from the vertical green line day on other patterns, we can see things that are changing. This is one of those days when the candles are going up, but we have several days of divergence with the lines going down. By that I mean the trend green and trend red have gone down several days. And we see it only one day in the pink and the blue, power pink and blue. They're going down. Zion's going down. And we've got a green candle up here. In fact, this is the peak. So this is one of those situations. It's not a gap. Well, it is a little bit of a gap, but not significantly for the next day. But we do recognize, keep in mind, this is the first day that trend red has crossed under the blue line. And that is one of those things that we just identify with that tells us that things can be going down, especially when they're supposed to be going up. Trend red has gone down now for about 5 days. Yeah, but it's remained high, but it's still traveling down. So, but the green vertical line day, the power yellow comes out from the pink, and when it does, and it goes like this, even though it's slightly going down, the price remains flat. We can see that again in our zip chart, not as much from the perspective of being flat, but being high. When we look at the zip chart here, we see several things. If you look at the day after the vertical green line, you are in a red spike, right? Zip red under 50, zip yellow above 50, and they're going down. The yellow line doesn't need, we don't necessarily need to have the yellow line down, but it's beneficial if we do. And then over here, a couple days later, we have another red spike with zip red down and zip yellow down. Zip yellow's at 75 and zip red's at 18, as you can see from the data window over in the right. And the thing that I wanted to tell you here or share with you again is that zip yellow is remaining high. It's even over here on the second day of the zip green at 100. Zip yellow is at 85. And so when it's traveling in the mid 80s and staying high like that, and obviously flat, the price stays flat. But keep in mind, the price stays flat at a high elevation. In other words, green went up here 7-8 days, and the price has remained at that altitude or elevation or value, whatever, however you want to look at it, for many days as well. And it's not until the zip green comes off of the zip green comes off of 100 that the next day it goes down. Now, let me point out to you here, this is one of the exceptions that we see. We don't see this too often, but here zip pink is not highest up next to zip green for the pink green top pattern. And so for some it may be hard to identify here, but the easiest thing to look at is to look at zip red. See where zip red is, because that thing, as we know, travels fast and it has long line lengths. And in this case here, zip red is at 26 when zip green is at 100. And so obviously with it being low, things are going to drop. But we also identify zip pink in a low angle up pattern. If I expand this a little bit more, you probably see it. Zip pink is in a low angle up pattern, which means next day down. And that's important because zip pink is a price barometer. And there's many key indicators. Zip green and Zion are important because they track trades. The price barometers are important because they physically track the price. And we all know from that low angles up on a peak is a next day down. And we define it by a peak as having 2 days up, even though zip pink may not look like it's right up there on the very top. But because it's gone up 2 days, it's defined as a peak. If it went down 2 days and it was a low angle down, I call those buckets, and those are indicative of next day up. Obviously, you can have a bottlenose pattern in either way, but you would see that reflected in other supporting evidence of other indicators. So the third one that I want to show you is here, and there are 3 vertical lines, the green, the pink, and the Zion. The green vertical line is the day before the yellow line crosses under the pink line. And this is just the opposite of the previous video, the previous indicator that I showed you. I'll back up here and I'll refresh, or I'll talk about it again. The pink has gone underneath the yellow on a peak. So it has traveled out here, and you get a flat price. And that's important. That can be an important thing. I mean, I would want to know that. Because why? Because look at, you've got 7, 8 green candles. When you have 7 or 8 green candles, you're thinking that the move should be sharply going down. But what do you get? I mean, the first day it went down okay. But after that, it was pretty flat. And so when you have that yellow line sticking out or coming out that first day, it's just telling you, hey, things are going to go the other, or things are going to be flat, and you may not want to get into the trade. And that would especially be true. You can see it right over here in the ZIP chart. ZIP yellow is at 79. And it came off of, on the vertical green line day, it came off of 96, ZIP yellow did. So it whenever ZIP is 80 or above, I usually try to say, but it can work real well above 75 as well, remaining flat, I mean. So back to this one right here. Again, the green vertical line day is the next day. Yellow crosses under pink, and pink is going up all the time, and it's until the pink vertical line. This is the bottom of the cycle. This is the day that we recognize it at the bottom of the cycle, and we pick that up in over here in the price chart with price green at 12 and price red at 6. But we also see it down here in the swing Zion. Swing Zion has gone up, and swing Zion has gone down and swing pink has gone up. Now this is pretty interesting because well, I guess not, because we've had the zigzag, the price up, price down, price up. From 2 days prior to the pink vertical line, pink has gone up 2 days and Zion has gone down 2 days. And not much has moved in the way of price, but on this day here, 2 days before the Zion vertical line, we have a right leg W higher pattern in a number of indicators. It's in Zion, it's in swing Zion, swing pink, it's in ZIP red gray. This is also the point. Let me also point out to you that ZIP blue and pink are 6.0 and 9.2. They've just blue is traveling a little bit above, and so actually it probably started back here on the pink. The ZIP pink is ZIP blue here is 715 and ZIP yellow is 5.4. But the thing that I'm the thing that I'm showing you here is pretty much on the 2 days prior to the Zion vertical line, ZIP blue separates itself from ZIP yellow. And this whole range here where after 4 or 5 days, 6 days after the Zion line to the right of it, blue is continuing and to be a long ways away from yellow. And we know blue and yellow, ZIP blue and yellow, travel together almost all of the time. When you see that separation, you're going to have some big movements when they come back together. And as a result, what ended up happening was you end up with here between. I'll draw another vertical line here because I want to point something out. On this day, the green line here, I'm going to change that to white. On the white vertical line day, it's the last day that ZIP green was at 100, but ZIP pink continued to run out 2 more days. And that's what we refer to as a pink diving board. The price will be flat or go up when you have a pink diving board. And so even though the buyers are leaving the market because they were getting out, I mean, they made a decision, some made a decision to leave, maybe some just got out because they had enough profit. But you can't, when I move it over here, you can now see the upper tail on the candle on that day, and so there was a sell-off probably at the end of that day, or could have been, put it that way. It sure looks like it. But anyway, the pink line continued. Zip yellow actually went up during this process, which means the price typically goes up. And then on this day, the day before the big red candle, zip yellow is at 85 and zip blue is at 87. So they're basically back together again. And when they come back together, then boom, you get the drop. Okay, so those are things to keep in mind about how the power pink line moves. Note when, like for example, here power pink on the pink vertical line day over here in the pink chart has crossed over power orange, and that's a good indication for the start of an uptrend, as it is hereafter. Note also when your power lines, all of your power lines are above zero, things have a tendency to go up, especially as they're moving up slowly, as they're doing here in this example, where we have from the vertical Zion line, looks like we got about 6 days to the top, and we have power pink continuing up all that time, even though trend red did 2 days down and then back up. This day right here, as far as indicator lines go, trend red is in a higher low. I said that wrong. In a lower high, meaning that over here trend red is highest. Over here, it is also highest, but it is lower, and that's what? That's the definition of, the basic definition of a downtrend. And boom, that's what we got next day, is a nice red candle. But when we see it reflected in the other information that we got, we can pick up on that much more readily. And so that's it for this video. I hope that was informative. It's power pink and how it reacts with the zip yellow and with the power yellow, and how you can even though you can see, because power pink doesn't necessarily tell you price. There's a pressure that's going up or whatever, moving, but you have to watch other lines to verify price. And that's where zip yellow and its relationship with zip blue come in, and of course power yellow.